So I'm prepping for this class, right? The Q process, the art and practice of living with nothing and no one against you. Don't we wish it was that easy, huh? You get news like what's happening with Ben, and you think, really? Nothing and no one is against me? Really? Against him? Really? You even have experiences in the day-to-day. We're doing a lot of due diligence still on the building, and I was down at City Hall Records. Can just imagine how fun that morning was. And I looked at it online here, and I could see basically everything we needed. And I walked down to City Rec, I could see it all, but I couldn't actually get the document. So I go to City Hall thinking, I'll pull it all up and I'll just get the document. Well, no, they have an entirely different system at the actual City Hall than what you look at when you're looking at it from somewhere else. And the woman was so nice. She gives me this little manual. And she says, here you go, this'll help you. And I'm working on the system and I cannot find, the building has been there since 1909. There's gotta be something in the records, right? And I can't find a thing, and I'm looking at the instructions and I'm getting more and more irritated, I'm getting more and more annoyed, and I start thinking and knowing that this computer system is out to get me. Because it really feels like that. Right? And I am so frustrated that when I finally, and I'm not even like, I'm working, I'm gonna figure this out, I'm gonna make this work. I finally go back to the desk and I'm like, I can't find anything. And she like goes, oh no, it's all right there. And I'm like, oh. So she walks me back over to my station where I was sitting, and she proceeds to sort of guide me through how to use the system. And the whole time she's doing that, I'm of course sort of fighting with it still. Like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why did they do it that way? Well, this is so not intuitive. I was having a whole sort of like conversation with this poor woman sitting there very calmly, just looking at me. And finally, I got how the system worked. And I saw the flow and I saw the process, and I was like, oh, thank you very much. And then I was able to sort of navigate the entire system. But I literally felt as if that computer was out to get me. And it became not just the computer system was out to get me, it expanded to the people who had designed this computer system were out to get me, right? And that they were stupid, right? Literally, I was like, this is so stupid. Whoever designed this is such an idiot, right? I went through a whole process, and we all have these moments in our day, yeah? We have these moments in our day where something is happening, something is irritating us, something is rubbing us a certain way. And the way that it's rubbing us makes us think that there is something out there against us. Enemy territory. We feel as if we have entered enemy territory, and it can happen in a heartbeat. So I was all chill. I worked on my talk last night. I did the final slide prep this morning, got all the spiritual stuff in the bulletin, added it to the connection card. I did all of it. And I arrive here, and Tyler is looking at me. He's like, I don't see anything in the slides. And I don't know what happened, but none of my prep was in here. None of what I had done to the bulletin was there. Nothing that I had done was there. And I'm breathing because I had printed out a copy of it, right? So I had a copy, and I was like, all right, I'll just have to recreate it. So then as I'm trying to recreate it, I can't log in to anything that has the images that I need. My one password isn't working. And I literally had a moment where I just wanted to cry. It happens in a heartbeat. Everything we know, all the spiritual principles we know, all the truth we understand, in a heartbeat, I was in enemy territory. Dropbox was out to get me this morning, right? So when we're in enemy territory, right? There's a lot of things that we experience in enemy territory. You guys know what you experience when you're in enemy territory, right? What happens when you're in enemy territory? What do you feel in enemy territory? Pressure, right? Pressure, right? Darlene? Revenge, right? Like you get all this emotional stuff comes up, right? Like it's a very emotional thing, right, Marty? Oh, you can feel sort of like small, like it sort of moves you. I get stuff in my stomach, I get tense, I get like all this like physiological response when I feel like I'm in enemy territory, right? Sometimes the mind just doesn't want to stop. Oh, I should have told them. Why didn't I tell them? I could have told them. I should have, right? Or I can't stop telling the story. Right? Can't stop telling. Do you know what happened to me today? Do you know? Can I just tell you what happened to me today? I need to tell somebody what happened to me today. And you just keep going with these thoughts and thoughts and thoughts. These are all cues that we are in enemy territory. And when we're in that place, we're not coming from our best, shiniest self at all, are we? Where we're coming from is from our pain. We're coming from the wounds that we have. We all have them. Even if we had the most amazing parents on the planet, we all have those places, those spaces in our development where we had unmet needs, where something that we wanted wasn't there, and we created a story about it not being there. We have our pain, we have our unworthiness, we have all of those things that they're all of a sudden the ones that are in the driver's seat. They are the ones that are in control of our experience. Now, what we know in this teaching is that we are in control of our experience except when we get hijacked. Right? Our whole system gets hijacked. And it's fast, man. It happens in less than 0.2 seconds. Oh, our amygdala gets triggered and all these hormones come rushing through and it is whoosh. We are triggered. And what we are living from and breathing from and happening from is from who we aren't. We're happening from this human understanding of who we are rather than the divine understanding of who we are. And it looks like that. Right? It looks like that. Everything is out to get us. Big, scary monsters all around. We see things not as they are, but as we are. Oh, breathe into that with me. Right? We see things not as they are, but as we are. The perception, the meaning making, the stories that we tell ourselves that we were told when we were children are all the way that we are seeing the world as well as ourselves. It's like we have filters in place, and so they keep us from being able to just see what is. Going into sort of Byron Katie. The what isness of it is not good or bad. And yet, I felt this morning, right, as if something was against me. There's nothing against me. That was completely my perception. That had nothing to do with reality. Dropbox was not out to get me. My internet connection at home was not out to get me. But that is what it felt like within myself. And that's going to happen over and over and over again, because guess what? We are spiritual beings having this human experience. And so these triggers are going to arise again and again and again. And those triggers are not there to make us feel awful about ourselves. Those triggers are there to help us recognize that that's a place that's crying out for healing. That's a place that is asking to be made whole. You are made in the image and likeness of the wholeness that you are. That is the truth of your being. That is what is seeking to express as your life, always more fully and more powerfully, always. So in those moments that you don't believe your divine truth, you start to feel those unpleasant thoughts and emotions. It's an alarm bell going off saying, pay attention to me. This is a place where you are not aligned with the truth of who you are. No matter what, your perception is going to filter into what you see and experience in this world. Right? No matter what. It is cute, isn't it? No matter what, your tusk, your being in this human world is going to impact and influence what you're seeing and how you're showing up in it. The question is, do you want that filter to be coming from your pain and your loss and your wounding and your fear and your not enoughness? Or do you want that filter to be coming from the wholeness and the compassion that you are? Because no matter what, there's going to be a filter. So which one are you going to choose? Because it is a choice point, always a choice point. And yet, certainly when we get hijacked, it doesn't feel like there's a choice there. It feels as if that choice sort of gets taken away and I'm hijacked and I'm just on that train, right? So what do? We have to wake up, really. We have to be willing to wake up. We have to be willing to see those places within us that are crying out for wholeness, that are crying out for compassion. Because we have all developed incredible strategies to navigate our own wounding, right? All the ways that we are wounded, we have incredible coping mechanisms to be able to handle it. And they're based on who you're not the truth of who you are. They're based on your wounds and your fears and all of that. And so when you find yourself blaming, I was certainly blaming, this system is crazy. Right? Angry, I was angry too. I'm wasting so much time here trying to get this information. Judgment, the people who designed this thing were idiots. Resistance, even when she was helping me, I kept trying to tell her how stupid the system was. Right? I was resisting even the fact she was trying to help me. Withdrawal, I tried to work it at first, right? I'm going to do this on my own. I'm going to make this all happen on my own. Efforting, working so hard to try to make something. Because what? And then justifying, right? Justifying. Well, this is set up in such a way that of course it wouldn't be easy for a person to be able to actually be able to navigate this easily. Justifying. Because what I was afraid of is that I was stupid. What I was afraid of is that I was inept. All the things that I was accusing the computer program and the developers of being was actually what I was afraid my struggle with that program was illuminating. And rather than being willing to own it for myself, wow, I feel really dumb right now, because I can't figure this out to save my life. Instead of owning it, I was projecting it outward onto an inanimate object. That is not allowing myself to actually heal. For me to actually sit there and go, wow, I feel really dumb right now. What is that? What is that place within me that feels less than, that feels as if I'm not smart, that feels as if I don't have what I need to be able to navigate? What is that place within me? So instead of ignoring it, when I'm paying attention to my reactiveness versus my being able to respond, when I pay attention to my reactivity, then I have an opportunity to do some real deep healing work. Now, a lot of you in here took the shadow class with me, the light side of the dark changers, and this work in the Q process is shadow work. It's gentle and it's empowering, and there's worksheets. It's a 21-day process. And it takes you sort of week by week by week as you start to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And what I love about this work is that you then have the tool to always be able to meet your hurt, wounded, less than self with love and compassion. You will have the tools to be able to navigate this place so that you can actually heal, so that you actually can believe that there is no one and nothing against you. Really. What would your life be with no one and nothing against you? Just close your eyes for a minute. What if there was no one and nothing against you? What would your life be like? What does it feel like? Call it out. What would it be like to have nothing and no one against you? Really? Freedom, peaceful, bliss. Heaven on earth, which is what we teach is part of who we are called to be, right? Heaven on earth right now. Comfortable. Anything else? Living in the arms of love, which Deborah sang so beautifully, right? When love calls you in. When love calls you in. But we have to be willing to do the work. We have to be willing to meet those spaces within us, as scary as they might be. Because remember the picture of the little girl with the monster? We actually think we're the monster. We're afraid that we're the monster. We're afraid that that's actually who we are. And we don't want to be the monster. I mean, I don't know, does anybody in here really want to be the monster? I don't want to be the monster. But that's not wholeness. That's not wholeness. Wholeness is being able to hold everything that we are, even the human parts of us that don't feel like we're enough, that struggle with our sense of inadequacy. We are inviting ourselves into a larger container. I say this a lot in my classes. This teaching is additive and inclusive. Additive and inclusive. We don't throw away our old understandings. We touch them and hold them with a new understanding, and that is how they are transformed. That is how we are able to do deep, profound healing work within ourselves. Not just something that's happening in our mind. Not just an idea that is happening, but something that is an embodied transformation, so that we can let go of these old patterns. We can let go. At this point, having done the Q process, as it's my third time around on the Q process, and having done it 3 times around, I get to where I was this morning and I think, oh, I know what this is. And I have a process to be able to recenter myself and realign myself. Pain that is not transformed is pain transmitted. Really think about that. Pain that is not transformed is being transmitted. You're going to have to, it shows up somehow. And we know that that is not who we have come here to be. A transmitter of pain. We have come here to be expressions of love in all of its myriad, unique, magnificent ways. So, next week, I'm going to talk more about who have we come here to be, because that's the other side of it, right? So the first piece is, oh my God, I need to recognize when I'm in enemy territory, right? Because if you don't even know you're in enemy territory, you just think that this is what life is. But when we begin to realize, oh, I'm in enemy territory right now. I think something's against me. I think something's not working in supporting me. I'm caught up in my story. We all have our stories, right? Sometimes it's a story about our childhood. Well, if my mother had only, if my father had only, they were doing the best they could, but we all have our stories that hook us in to basically a victim consciousness. We think that something is happening to us. And if things are going well, we're okay with that. We're okay if things are going well. It's when things aren't going well. What you are feeling, those uncomfortableness and all of that, the emotions, that sense when you feel as if the enemy is against you, all of that, as I said before, is the cue process. It is the cue for you to pay attention and to be willing to go deeper. So it's 21 days that you immerse yourself in yourself. Completely self-guided. You've got the worksheets. Every day you do a worksheet. You guys think you could come up with something that irritates you every day? It's pretty easy. Usually it's a matter of which one am I going to choose from, right? And you work the process. And you get to recreate the meaning in your life. You get to retell your story. You get to even, there's a shamanic piece to it almost, where you get to reimagine your life, right? If this, who you had come here to be, was actually who you showed up as, right? Different world, different life. So let's take a breath, and I'm going to invite Misa up here. And we're going to step into our meditation song.